Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing well. This is Rudy. Hey, I'm gonna, you know how I love acronyms. You know, I created the Mangy Roaches C acronym to help me remember all of the satanic deceptions of this world. I've got NWO Fire Temps Men to help me remember all the evidence that 9/11 was an inside job. I've created the acronym of PACS, P-A-C-T-S, which reminds me of all of the things of why Zeitgeist is evil. P-A-C-T-S is, you know, make a pact with the devil, so I think Zeitgeist must have made several pacts with the devil because they're just full of things that lead to the destruction of mankind. But I've got a new acronym, and that acronym is K.I.S.S of Death, which is, you know, helps me remember the things to bring up when I'm in a discussion with an atheist. And I believe that the single worst thought that ever came out of the mind of man is that there is no God, and so that is the K.I.S S of Death. And one thing I've learned in discussing with atheists, and I've heard Ken Hovind say this too, and it rings so true in my heart, is that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The atheist must want to believe. If they don't want to find God, they won't find God. They're going to find every reason not to believe. They'll always find a natural reason for rejecting God. But at some point in their life, the atheist life, I pray that they will want to find God. And once you want to find God and you ask God to reveal Himself to you, He will reveal Himself to you. There's, you know, once you want to find God, you will find God. There's evidence out there. There's answers for all of your questions. Every single question you have, there's a godly answer that points to a Creator. You just have to want it. And anyway, before I get into K.I.S S of Death, and I tried to do this video once before, but I ran over my 15 minutes, and the problem that I ran into is I go into each topic in way too much depth, and I don't want to do that. I may make future videos, but in this video I simply want to cover the acronym and not go in deep into each particular one. I just simply want to put the acronym out there. But before I do that, I want to show you guys this. This is a Masonic Bible. I was in a half-price bookstore in Dallas, and it was so cheap. And you know, I like a good Bible. And so I didn't think there was anything wrong with the version of the Bible, right? I'm not a proponent of Freemason. I don't like Freemasons, to be honest with you, because I think that anything that's done in the dark is very suspicious, and that, you know, God said that if you do good deeds, you'll come to the light. If you do evil deeds, you'll hide in secrecy. And so Freemasonry is embedded in secrecy. But check this picture out. You guys see that? It has that freaking all-seeing eye over the Capitol, and then you have, you know, George Washington in his Freemason apron. It's just insane, right? But anyway, I wanted to show you guys that. It was so cheap, and it's a good Bible. I mean, the Word of God is still printed in there, that I went ahead and got it, and I just thought it was amazing, you know, to find something like that in a half-price bookstore. But let's go through my K.I.S S of Death. I'm going to go through this really quickly. I could spend hours talking about each one, but that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is to get the K.I.S S of Death out there, so that we all have an acronym to help us remember the high points when we talk to any atheist. The first one is the K in K.I.S S of Death is Kalam, Cosmological Argument. I've got another video that talks in depth about this, but let me go through it quickly. It says anything that has a beginning must have a cause. That's just a very logical statement. If it has a beginning, any object or anything whatsoever in the universe, if it has a beginning, it must have a cause. Things just don't spring into existence. An example would be if you found a horse in your living room, it didn't just spring into existence in your living room. That would be crazy. People would call you insane for believing that. If you find a horse in your living room, somebody must have had to go got it from a pasture, walked it through your yard, opened your door, and let it into your living room. So anything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a beginning, right? Even modern scientific consensus is that the universe has a beginning. And since the universe has a beginning, it must have a cause. That cause must be God. Now, I could go into the Kalam cosmological argument in detail, but I'm not going to do that. Please watch the video. I'll put the link in the information bar. The I in K.I.S S of Death is intelligent design. There's Michael Behe, there's irreducible complexity, there's the video that I've got up on my channel called The Case for a Creator. I'm going to upload a video in the future called Where Does the Evidence Lead? But there are, you know, I can point to so much things in the universe, the special place that our earth has, how everything that I see around me and have experienced in my life has a design behind it, the information encoded in our DNA, all of that points towards design and a creator. And so intelligent design is a topic that you really should educate yourself on. There's a lot of resources. and I'll put a few in the information bar as well. The S, the first S in Kiss of Death, is social statistics. A lot of atheists will argue that social statistics in non-religious countries are much better. My argument back to that is that social statistics in a zoo are much better. The animals have higher birth rates. The animals are very well taken care of by their masters until they get old and nobody wants to look at them anymore, and then they're destroyed. So as long as the animals perform a function for the zoo, the caretakers take good care of them. So my argument back is that social statistics do not reflect, whether a society, whether religion is bad or good for a society. And I could use the argument back at you and say that the most blessed country in the whole world, in the whole that we've even known about in the history of man, was America in the beginning, and that we had the blessings of God with us. We were built on a Judeo-Christian ethic, whether you like it or not, and we had the blessings of God, and we had great social statistics. We had prosperity for everyone, even the poorest American was better off than some of these third world countries. So if you want to use social statistics as an argumentative point as an atheist, I would say that America had the best social statistics of any country when we were the best country on earth, when we were going through our prosperity phase and we were based on a Judeo-Christian ethic, and when we had not turned our back on God. But we do not have the blessings of God at this point in time. I readily admit that. But animals in a zoo have better social statistics, but they're being controlled by the tyrannical zoo caretakers. And as for me as a free human being, I never want to be in a zoo. I would rather be in danger in the jungle than be stuck in a zoo and be locked up every day. So social statistics just don't cut it with me. I mean, a lot of atheists think they make a lot of good cases with social statistics, and it's just absolutely absurd. The second S in KISS is the soul. The arguments for soul, the arguments for your consciousness, how consciousness and soul are tied to free will, the importance of free will. A lot of honest atheists will reject their free will. And I have to admire them for their honesty, but a lot of atheists have not even thought that their belief system takes away their free will. And so it's important that they understand the arguments for your soul. The atheists don't just reject their soul only, typically. I know that atheism specifically means a rejection of God, but most atheists also reject their soul. They reject an afterlife. They reject the entire spiritual plane of existence. So it's important that you make the atheist aware of that if they're not already. A lot of it, I'll say this: atheists are not stupid people. A lot of atheists know the Bible better than most Christians. This is a very sad fact because they studied it to try to reject God. I'll say this too, and I learned it from Ken Hovind. I didn't learn it from Ken Hovind. I had been thinking this already, but when I saw him say it, it rang true in my heart and was a confirmation of what I had already learned. And that is, if an atheist or someone who is rejecting God does not want to find God, they won't find God. They simply won't. If you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. If somebody is rejecting God actively and they don't want to find God, they won't find God. They'll come up with a natural explanation for everything that you can point to. And what is obvious to me in that there is a creator that loves us and a divine creator that put all this together and is behind the creation of our soul. What's so obvious to me, they will reject. But we're looking at the same evidence. So in the beginning, it was confusing to me. Like, why don't these people get it? But it dawned on me, these people don't want to find God. They will never find God until they want to find God. So because I believe that's the case, God will sometimes allow, not necessarily put on purpose, but allow hardship to come into our life to make us get to a situation in life where we want to find God. And then ultimately, when you want to find God, when you earnestly and cry out from a repentant heart, and you have a desire to find God and ask Him to reveal Himself to you, He will reveal Himself to you. The other thing I'll say regarding the soul, because we're at the end of KISS, K.I.S.S, and we're talking about the soul, is the soul is important to understand where it emanates all of your actions and your decisions. It emanates the love that you have for your children, for any people that you love on planet Earth. And so atheists must come to the point of acknowledging that their love is determined by chemical deposits in their brain, either chemical deposits, neural pathways, or electrical impulses. And so when they look at their child, they could say in their belief system, if I just had a little bit more electrical impulses, or if I just had a little bit more chemical deposits, I could love my child more. But see, I don't believe that for a second. I believe that my love originates from my immaterial soul, and that my brain is used to express my love in this physical world. Let's keep moving, because I got a lot of words to cover, and I'm already up to 10 minutes, and I already did this once and went over. The O in of is omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotent. Omniscience is knowing everything. God knows everything, even the future. Omnipresence is God is everywhere. Omnipotent is God is all-powerful. So you'll get these arguments that if God knows the future, how can I have free will? C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity covered that to a great deal. God is outside of time. I could go into how time requires for an object to move from position A to position B, but God is outside of time. And you say, what does that have to do with free will? And what does that have to do with God knowing the future? We can have free will, and God can still be outside of time. And because we exist in the physical universe and exist within time, we still have free will, but God, looking outside of time, can still know what we're going to do because He's that powerful. He speaks things into existence. Another crazy comment that atheists always say, can God make a rock that He can't pick up? See, God doesn't make a rock. He's not stuck in the physical universe like you and I. He's not bound by time and space like you and I. He speaks the physical rock into existence, and it just comes into existence. And so, because He's that powerful, a silly statement like, can God make a rock He can't pick up, doesn't mean anything, because His spoken word is so powerful that it causes things to appear in the physical universe. Let me keep moving on. The F in K.I.S.S of death is free will. I talked about the fact that you must want God in order to find Him. That's the first step. You have to exist. You have to be in a state of mind of wanting to find God. But it's very important to make the atheists understand that their belief system, if you carry it out to its logical conclusion, takes away their free will. And some atheists will acknowledge that. A lot of atheists haven't got to that point yet. The D in death, K.I.S.S of death, is dualism versus physicalism. Dualism states that we have a soul and a material body that ultimately make up who we are. Physicalism says we're just the physical matter of our body and our brain, and we get back into we're just a glorified robot. See, I'm not just a robot. I'm not just acting out what I was programmed from my environment. I'm not just acting out what I was programmed from my genetic makeup. This is a piece of equipment that I use. My soul, which is an immaterial part of me, uses my brain and my physical body to express myself in this physical universe. But once this physical body goes away, I will continue to exist, and I will suffer the ramifications for how I acted and how the choices that I made and the belief systems that I carried in this physical world. Let's keep going. I got 2 minutes left. Empathy. D.E.A.T.H. The E in death is empathy. Atheists derive their morals from empathy. We could talk about the circle of empathy, and as it grows louder, as it grows larger, we have less and less empathy. I, as a Christian and a believer in divine Creator, believe that I have an inner moral compass that was installed by me by my Creator, and it could not have developed through evolution. Let's keep moving on. A, accountability. I believe a lot of atheists, this is my strong belief after having dealt with them quite a bit, want to avoid accountability at all costs. They will say that they are fully accountable for their life, and they'll argue vehemently. They get very passionate on this topic. But see, they say their accountability to the rules of society. They always say, I'm going to do what's right as defined by society. Well, sometimes society gets so corrupt and it's so bad that that's not a good measuring stick to define your accountability to. See, my accountability is not to my society. My accountability is not to my peers and my social peers. My accountability is to God Almighty. I got less than 1 minute. Truth. D.E.A.T.H. Truth is not subjective. There's only one truth. There's only one right answer, and everybody that's contradicting one another is not going to hold hands and I'll go to heaven at the end. There's going to be one right answer. Truth is not subjective. There's only one truth. H, hell. A lot of times I hear, if God loved us so much, and God is so wonderful, He's not going to put us in hell forever. Read The Great Divorce. Read The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. We put ourselves in hell. We're going to cut our own throat. We're going to bring hell and damnation on ourselves. God doesn't do that to us. He gives us free will, and we put ourselves in hell. God bless every one of you. I'm running out of time, and thank you for listening.